Okay, I'm here with my Uncle Curtis.
Yes, my name is Curtis Bird. I'm Keith's uncle.
Okay, I'm going to be asking you about 9/11, the causes of 9/11. So my first question to you is, where were you on 9/11?
Well, I was at home in my apartment on 9/11.
And what were you doing?
I had just gotten up for bed and went on to turn on my typical morning program, which was Today's Show with Brian Gumbel.
As an American citizen, how has 9/11 impacted your life?
Well, before I get into how it impacted my life, I was shocked. I was surprised. I thought it was some kind of a movie that was coming on showing what he was describing as some airplanes crashing into the World Trade Center. So after watching that and being convinced that it was actually happening, and seeing the aftermath of it and all the disruption in the country, as we later found out, it's disrupted the whole country. And how it has impacted my life.
As an American citizen, how has 9/11 impacted your life?
Well, it's made me more conscious not to take what has happened in that instant and over or underanalyze it based on the ideas and thoughts that was put together by the commentary. As we now know, that was anything but. It should not be thought of the way the media was putting it out. Further investigation reveals that the underlying backstory cannot be supported legally. So that's the starting point for a basic understanding of how it has impacted my life. Maybe look at the world system, local systems, news reporting systems, analysis, much more critically.
Okay, my third question to you is, what do you think caused 9/11?
What do I think? Well, that is a long, long story.
So can you give me half of it, please?
Okay, I'll give you a brief backstory.
Okay.
The brief backstory is that it was caused by a plan that goes back before the first George H. Walker Bush ascendancy to the president starts, and was brought forward based on economics, politics, finance, and a control dynamic that allowed the American military-industrial complex to control the flow of oil and resources that commerce was directed by. That's a brief backstory.
Can you give me some more?
Say again?
Can you give me some more information?
Okay, can I give you some more information? Read your textbook. Go to the bibliography. Read the footnotes, if any. Ask critical questions. And see how that impacts our daily lives. Do your own thinking. Expand your research base beyond what's given to you. And be a critical person to develop an analysis that fits with the facts as they are revealed constantly.
Okay. And part of that question is, do you think George Bush had anything to do with the attack?
If he didn't, Or if he did, why was he caught on tape sitting on a child's stool in a kindergarten class while somebody walked up to him and told him what went on? And have the media capture a picture of him when he was told, looking like a deer caught in the headlights of a car, when somebody told you something.
Okay.
It's all in the public record. It'll come out eventually. Hopefully it'll come out in your lifetime, Keith.
Thank you. My fourth question to you is, do you think that government agencies such as the FBI and CIA caused anything for 9/11?
Oh, absolutely. In hindsight and further detailed investigation, if you go back to the organization of the CIA after World War II, you can see how certain forces shaped how the management of the system, the CIA and the FBI, was going to be orchestrated and controlled based on politics, economics, commerce, and militarism. So it's all there.
Okay. My fifth question is, do you think the war in Afghanistan caused 9/11?
The war in Afghanistan. Not directly.
Can you explain to me more, please?
Well, as it has come out most recently, Saddam Hussein was actually a proxy of the American military system that we were manipulating through our foreign policy and economics. And that the Bush administration, through the Saudis, you understand, were all connected.
How so?
Well, they have an economic and strategic interest in the control of what keeps the energy systems working, meaning the sources of production, distribution around the world. So when you lose control of that, you create a vacuum and others step in, other stronger parties, or we would be stronger parties, step in to take up the space that you vacated.
Thank you. Okay. Do you think that 9/11 could have been prevented? If so, why?
Well, if the American people were better informed and were allowed to understand what's locked up in 50 or 100-year information that they have locked down, they'll sooner or later be able to connect the dots much sooner.
How is that so?
Well, the most important thing that you can do to control the dynamic is not to tell the people the truth. Not to let them figure out what the truth could be. So you give them propaganda. And you manage the propaganda, and you let the truth come out gradually as you reestablish new controls.
Is that all?
To manage the system. That's a short version of it, because I'm skipping over a lot of things just to give some kind of understanding. But if properly understood, there's never been in the history of the world any disconnect between anything that exists.
What do you mean by that?
No disconnect. It's only an illusion of a disconnect. And the illusion is a false manufacture of false evidence by fear. That's all it is. Fear, deprivation, etc., etc.
Thank you.
It's fostered through what I would call Hellenism. And somebody might say, well, what is Hellenism? They're not going to teach you that, Keith, in your class. You're going to have to do research on it. Hellenism, simple. It's fostered through the Greeks. It was a perversion of what the truth was. Because people did not want to wait to learn everything that exists, which establishes there's no disconnect, happens as a process. So if somebody wants to shorten the process, they have to get you to disassociate what you can prove to be true by giving you answers to things that you want to experience and understand now. It's a process. That's why you have to wait till you get to 12th grade to understand this. We're going to actually be taught when you're in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grades with much more depth and comprehension. That's what it is. But then I all have to learn how to navigate this. So we'll get there. Thank you.
My last question to you is, how has 9/11 changed America today?
Well, when we start to have people who are not hiding the documentations and people are exposing the fraud in the system, that doesn't mean that America is not without its good points. But it doesn't matter what kind of system you have, you're going to still have fraud. Whether it's communism, capitalism, any type of authoritarian system, dictatorship, doesn't matter whether it's religion. All forms of religion have their built-in policies for develop cohesion among their followers or believers. So when you run out of one set of beliefs you find to be false, they give you a new set. And what they do when they give you a new set, they build in a bonus situation so that nobody totally falls out of the loop. You just ascend and you know it in a slower version of it. Or you descend on a slower version based on what they want you to achieve or what their end goal is. It's really not that complicated. Nobody wants to tell anybody the truth about anything, least of all the government, because that would shake up the system. It would all crash. We just experienced a crash. You know, the last 7 years have been a financial disaster to some people. Well, the people that manage the system benefited. But the little people, the cannon fodder of the world, suffered all the devastation. That's why you got people with mechanical arms, legs, mechanical brains. It's all a part of the research. Where would they get their research product if it wasn't for war? Where would they get their research product if it wasn't for intoxication, drug addiction, mental illness? And they make it mutually beneficial by giving you a job so that you can buy things and keep working to buy more things. And they've quantified your lifespan. Now it's up around maybe 80. They're going to expand it. But meanwhile, they're going to have a new group of dropouts that no medical pharmaceutical aid can keep them existing. So a disconnect is allowed to exist between the old and the young. It's no problem. So the young can't connect because they can't understand what the old people are telling them. So they got a new set of propaganda, a new set of goals, and maybe expand their life to 90. Who knows? That's how it works.
Okay, thanks. Can you tell me the positive effects of 9/11?
The what?
The positive effects of 9/11.
More people are coming into the system to start to think but the rate of positiveness coming in is not necessarily directly proportional to the devastation. So once that can be reestablished, then we'll have some kind of balance. And maybe from the balance, we'll develop harmony. But it's a process.
Can you give me the negative effects of 9/11?
Say again?
Can you tell me the negative effects?
Well, I think I already told you what they were.
Can you elaborate more?
No. When you see people walking around with 2 legs, walking around with canes, walkers, having to have mental disorders treated chemically, all that is some of the disorder. There's a lot of things. That's a broad subject. So I'm just jumping all over the place to give you some ideas. If you can go back and reconnect what I've said, most of the questions that you asked me have been already answered in some portion or some small bit of fragmented information.
Well, thank you for all your time, Uncle Curtis.
Okay, you're welcome.